The Super Nintendo is home to some of the greatest JRPGs ever made, games that shaped the genre, captured our imaginations, and left lasting memories for generations of players. So whether you grew up grinding through these random encounters or are just discovering these classics for the very first time, there's something timeless about the 16-bit era's vibe, whether it's the pixel art, the sweeping soundtracks, or the heartfelt storytelling. So in today's video, we're talking about some of the best Super Nintendo JRPGs, my top 10, if you will, and I'm really excited to share my list of games. Before we get to that, as always, don't forget to like and subscribe if you're not already, and leave a comment down below. Let me know your top 10 and how you would rank them as well. Be interested to know. So let's get to the list with number 10, one of my favorite, most underrated Super Nintendo gems. Coming in at number 10 is Secret of Evermore. This is a really great game and one of my favorite games, and I would say a very underappreciated game on the Super Nintendo. And yet, it's often misunderstood, but once you look past the comparisons to Secret of Mana, it's clear that this is a very unique, fascinating, atmospheric RPG in its own right. The premise of this game is you play as a boy and his dog who changes form in each region as they're transported to a mysterious world made up of different civilizations from various historical eras. From prehistoric jungles to cyberpunk cities, each area is distinct and memorable. Combat here is action-based with a heavy focus on timing and positioning, and the alchemy system replaces traditional magic with craftable spells, encouraging exploration and experimentation. It can be a bit finicky at times, but it does give the game its unique flavor. And the relationship you have between the boy and his dog is simple but heartfelt, and the humor gives the game a playful tone without becoming too over-the-top silly. The real draw of Secret of Evermore, in my opinion, is the atmosphere. It is moody, it's ambient. It really creates a unique sense of isolation and wonder. And visually, the game is beautiful for what it is on the Super Nintendo. It's got detailed sprite work and great imaginative environments, and it may not reach the highs of Square's other RPGs, especially at that time. It does offer you a unique, singular experience that's worth revisiting for fans of the genre. Number 9, Live Alive, Live Alive, however you say it. This is one of the most creative and unique JRPGs to ever grace the Super Famicom. Yes, that's right, because this game was specific to Japan only until a couple years ago with the HD 2D remaster. This game breaks the traditional JRPG mold by presenting not one, but 7 distinct stories, each set in a different time period. From prehistoric times to distant future, each chapter has its own protagonist, art style, gameplay quirks, and even music, creating a sort of JRPG anthology that keeps things fresh from start to finish. The variety of stuff on display is genuinely impressive. You've got a dialogue-free caveman tale full of slapstick humor, a Wild West showdown where you set traps before a duel, a sci-fi horror scenario that plays more like an alien movie than Final Fantasy, and a full-on kung fu saga inspired by martial art films and Street Fighter. Each story only lasts a couple of hours, if that, making this game incredibly replayable and bite-sized, while still delivering a lot of meaningful narrative moments. The battle system is grid-based with turn order mechanics, which adds a layer of tactical depth, which is very unique to this game and one of the reasons why I really love this game as well. And each character has unique abilities that suits the setting and the story. What makes Live Alive so special, though, is how all the stories eventually connect. Without spoiling too much, the game culminates in a brilliant and emotional final chapter that helps recontextualize everything you've played before. It's rare for a game to be so experimental and cohesive, especially of that time, but Live Alive pulls it off with charm and confidence. Number 8. Final Fantasy V. This game often flies under the radar, and I would say it probably plays not second fiddle, but like third fiddle to the other games in the Final Fantasy series on the Super Nintendo. But this is really an RPG lover's dream thanks to its deep and flexible job system. The story here in Final Fantasy V follows Bartz, a cheerful wanderer who joins a group of unlikely heroes to stop an interdimensional threat. The tone is more lighthearted than, 4 or 6, but it is filled with a lot of charm, world hopping, and even some emotional gut punches. The star of the show, in my opinion, is the gameplay and the job system. With dozens of classes and the abilities to mix and match skills, Final Fantasy V lets you experiment endlessly. You want a black mage who can equip a knight sword, or a ninja who can cast healing spells? It's all possible. There's so many different combinations, and they are all immensely satisfying to play around with. The game rewards creativity and mastery in a way that few others did at that time. And while the story might not be the deepest in the series, as character interactions lessons, especially involving Galuf and his granddaughter, offering some of the most truly heartfelt moments in this series at that time, and maybe just even in general. And the villain Exdeath and the concept of the Void are suitably menacing, and the final battle feels really epic in scale. It's a melancholically rich RPG that doesn't get the love that it deserves, especially among modern Final Fantasy fans. So if you haven't played this one, man, I tell you what, you're gonna love it. Number 7, Terranigma. This is one of the most profound and underrated Super Nintendo JRPGs. This game takes you from a desolate underworld to the rebirth of Earth itself, literally guiding the resurrection of plants, animals, and civilization as we know it. In this game, you play as Ark, a mischievous boy who's thrust into an enormous task to revive the surface of the world and shape the destiny of humankind. Unlike traditional JRPGs, Terranigma leans quite heavily on action-based combat and environmental storytelling. Dungeons are tightly designed with unique enemies and puzzles, and Ark's agility in battle feels sharp and responsive. The game is divided into different chapters that follow the stages of Earth's redevelopment or development, and from the revival of continents to technological progress and even philosophical evolution. It's a very interesting premise. What elevates Terranigma is its mature and existential storytelling. Themes of creation, sacrifice, and humanity's place in the universe are all woven into this narrative that is surprisingly emotional. It's a game that's not afraid to ask big questions and trust players to reflect on the answers, making it a must-play for those who love action RPGs and some narrative-driven RPGs as well. Number 6, Secret of Mana. This game blends fast-paced action with classic RPG mechanics, delivering you a unique and fun experience. Basically, here you are trying to restore the balance of the world and awaken the power of mana. The game's real-time combat and ring menu system were innovative for the time and really allow for fluid gameplay that didn't really rely on turn-based stuff alone. It was very unique for that time. Now, what really made Secret of Mana stand out was its multiplayer capability. With a multi-tap, up to 3 players can control each member of the party, an almost unheard of feature for an RPG in the 90s. Overall, the core gameplay is fast, fun, and deeply satisfying. And the story is more subtle and environmental than dialogue heavy, but it still manages to evoke emotion, especially near the end of the game. The haunting beauty of the Mana Fortress and the melancholy of the final battle leaves a lasting impression. And the game's beautiful pixel art and the soundtrack makes you feel like you're exploring a mythical dream world. It really is an unforgettable journey with a beating heart at its core. Number 5, Final Fantasy IV. Final Fantasy IV is where the series matured from a simple fantasy quest into a true character-driven epic. Here you play as Cecil. Some of you might say Cecil. I think Cecil sounds better. I don't know. He's a conflicted Dark Knight who questions his king's orders and begins a redemptive journey. Along the way, he's joined by a memorable cast of characters, and this was the first Final Fantasy game to truly lean into drama, and it truly showed how emotionally resonant JRPGs could be. The battle system introduced the now iconic active time battle system, which added a sense of urgency and tension to each fight. Each character has a fixed class, however, making team composition more about synergy than customization, and this made characters feel more narratively grounded in their roles. Some scenes, like the sacrifice of Palom and Porom, were surprisingly heavy for the time and still hit hard today, even though the ending of the game pretty much undoes that and makes you forget about all the feelings you had about them in the middle of the game. In my opinion, they should have just stayed where they were, but that's fine. Now, visually and musically, Final Fantasy IV remains iconic. From the soaring overworld theme to the dramatic battle theme, Nobuo Uematsu's soundtrack elevates every scene. And the game's lunar twist in the final act was mind-blowing, honestly, adding a cosmic stake to what initially felt like a grounded tale. Final Fantasy IV laid the emotional groundwork that later entries would build upon, and it remains one of the most influential RPGs of that era. Number 4, Super Mario RPG. This is a delightful fusion of platforming charm and RPG depth, bringing Mario and his friends into a turn-based combat game for the very first time. Developed by Square, it combines the polish of Nintendo's world building with the mechanical finesse of JRPG systems. The result here is a vibrant, funny, and mechanically satisfying game that manages to feel fresh even now, aside from the remaster, or remake, I guess. Combat includes timed button presses that enhance attacks or reduces damage, making battles more interactive than most of the RPGs of that era. Each character brings something fun to the table, from Bowser's brute strength to Geno's cool tech-based abilities, and the story is a lighthearted romp to recover 7 stars and stop the villainous Smithy, but it really is filled with great moments like Mario doing charades or even going through the booster tower. It is super funny and super charming. What really sells the experience is the world design and the humor. Towns are full of personality, the quest that you're playing feels meaningful, and the writing is genuinely funny without being over-the-top annoying. The game also introduces original characters here like Geno and Mallow, who have developed strong fan bases since. The music is amazing, and I love the visuals of this game overall. It's the perfect blend of accessibility and depth. It is truly a great gateway RPG that still satisfies a veteran player like me, and one that I often recommend to people as this should be your first JRPG if you haven't played one yet. Number 3. Final Fantasy VI. Yes, this game is a truly massive achievement in storytelling and gameplay, pushing the Super Nintendo to its absolute limits. Unlike many JRPGs with a single protagonist, this one features a true ensemble cast. Each character has their own story arc and development. While it does start with Terra, seemingly as the main character, and then midway through the game, Celes seems to be the main character. Each character has their own unique thing, and it's really great to see how the game builds on each of their journeys respectively from start to finish. The world of Final Fantasy VI feels alive, and the narrative dares to go places that most games of that era wouldn't do. It doesn't just tease an apocalypse. It actually happens, and you actually play through it as well. The world of Ruin really just flips this game on its head, and it works really well. The battle system here also refines the ATB system and introduces character-specific abilities like Saban's Street Fighter style inputs that makes every turn feel different. In combination with that, you have the powerful Esper system that adds flexibility and magic learning while also feeding into the lore. The music, especially the haunting opera scene, still gives me chills to this day. And then there's Kefka. He starts out as a court jester and ends as like a godlike destroyer, laughing all the way. He's maniacal, unpredictable, and the rare villain who actually wins for a period of time. The game's tone shifts dramatically after the world is destroyed, giving a true second act with a bleaker, more somber atmosphere. Final Fantasy VI isn't about just saving the world, it's about surviving it and finding meaning in the wreckage. Number 2, Earthbound. This game flips JRPG conventions on its head by setting its adventure in a modern world with baseball bats and psychic powers and aliens instead of swords and dragons. Here you play as Ness, a seemingly normal kid who, along with his friends, set out to stop the malevolent Gigas. The world is weird and wonderful, full of odd enemies. It's an RPG that doesn't take itself too seriously until it suddenly does, and then it really hits hard. One of my favorite things about Earthbound is the turn-based battle system and how it uses a rolling HP meter, giving you a chance to act fast to avoid death even after taking lethal damage. Now, the inventory system is a little bit clunky, but the challenge is part of the charm. The game balances silly humor with deeply emotional moments, particularly towards the end when things take a surprisingly dark and existential turn. Earthbound has a unique voice that makes it stand out even decades later. And part of the magic is how Earthbound captures this childhood wonder, friendship, and fear through a surreal lens. Its offbeat sense of humor, like fourth wall breaking references and weird dialogue, makes every moment feel memorable. It's one of the most emotionally resonant JRPGs of its era, even though it plays out like a Saturday morning cartoon. Once you play Earthbound, I'm telling you, it stays with you. It's like a strange memory from your own youth. And unsurprisingly, at number 1 is Chrono Trigger. This game is a landmark RPG that helped define the genre. Honestly, with its innovative use of time travel, the game allows you to witness and influence events across different eras, from prehistoric times to distant future. Each time period has its own aesthetic, music, and narrative threads, and the way they all interconnect is nothing short of masterful. The story is deeply engaging without ever being overly convoluted, and the pacing keeps you hooked from beginning to end. And to be honest with you, one of the game's most impressive features is the battle system, which blends traditional turn-based mechanics with some real-time elements. Characters can team up for powerful dual or triple techs, encouraging strategic party combinations. And there are no random battles. You can see enemies within the environment, which was a refreshing change at the time. Plus, the multiple endings give game incredible replay value, and the New Game Plus feature was great groundbreaking for its time. And beyond mechanics, Chrono Trigger thrives on personality and polish. Every character is essential to the story, and Akira Toriyama's character design brings everything in the world to life. And plus, the soundtrack hits super hard. Thank you to Yasunori Mitsuda. This adds so much emotional depth to every moment. It's one of my favorite soundtracks as a result. It really is a perfect storm of creativity. And if you only ever play one Super Nintendo JRPG, this should probably be it. So that's my list of top 10 Super Nintendo JRPGs. They are games that I love dearly with all my heart, so I'm very happy to talk about them today, or just any capacity in general. I love these games. They're very cute and charming and really make you think, you know what I mean? These classic games just have that effect on me. I just love them. So thanks so much for watching today. Don't forget to like and subscribe, comment your thoughts down below, and we'll see you again next week on another video. Bye-bye.